In the Factor follow-up segment 10 a couple of weeks ago, I went to Chicago where I told the press that crime in the Englewood neighborhood of that city is out of control. I also said I'd use as much legal force as possible to correct the situation. Well, Mayor Daley didn't like that very much.
And if I'm mayor, I'm going, no, I'm not going to sit for that. I'm going to go in there with heavy artillery, just like you did in Iraq, and I'm going to get those people out of there.
Kind of a sad comment. I know he earns a lot of money. You know, one thing, I wish everybody at his studio earned the same money, and I know he has, you know, his books, the gimmicks that he writes all the books. And it's too bad. I really don't know the man, and I don't know why he would be here anyway.
Now, however, the mayor is sending a new 100-man immediate response unit to saturate Englewood and other dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago. Joining us now from the Windy City, Pastor Anthony Williams from St. Stephen's Evangelical Lutheran Church. So it looks like, you know, the mayor either took my suggestion or I guess came up with it on his own. Pastor, what say you?
Well, Mr. O'Reilly, traditional policing alone will not work, particularly for communities like Englewood. The late Dr. Martin Luther King once talked about a domestic type of Marshall Plan. Englewood is a community that is in the process of receiving billions of dollars for redevelopment. So the real issue is economics, and when people are working, crime and violence is down.
All right, I don't believe the real issue is economics at this juncture. It could be a month from now. But the real issue is public safety. You have a drug gang there that controls the streets, it terrorizes the people, that corrupts the children, and that drug gang has been entrenched in that neighborhood for about 3 years, all right? So you're telling me that the city of Chicago has no responsibility to break the back of that drug gang and let those poor people in Englewood walk the streets without fear, sir?
Well, public safety is always an important factor, Mr. O'Reilly. But the key thing is you need to know, and the American public needs to know, that the real issue is the fact that Englewood is about to receive billions of dollars in federal, state, and city funding. And you have greedy developers who work along with some of these political cronies who don't want young men and women to stop participating in these negative activities. Many of these young men and women don't want to be involved in gangs. They don't want to sell drugs. And so the solution is, when people are working, crime and violence is down. So the real issue is that the mayor of the city of Chicago needs to understand that he's got to sit down with the real leaders of the Englewood community and talk about solutions that will resolve these negativities that are taking place in a community like Englewood.
I think you're 50% right, but you're 50% wrong. You can't have any economic prosperity unless you have control of the streets. And nobody forces anybody to sell drugs. Chicago is a big city with plenty of jobs in the service industry for anyone who wants them. To say that the citizens of Englewood can't get those jobs, driving cabs, working in restaurants, is simply not true. But to say that the city of Englewood is under the control of a drug gang is true, and that's the primary responsibility of the mayor and the police chief of Chicago, to break the back of that gang. And you should be calling for that. Now, once that happens, then I'm on your side to develop the area the way it should be developed. But that's got to happen first, Pastor.
Well, the key thing, Mr. O'Reilly, is that, you know, having grown up in Englewood, I understand my community. And I understand that when you put the resources in the right community groups' hands, they can in turn work in conjunction with the police. The key issue is when people are working, crime and violence is down.
Yeah, but people can work in Chicago, Pastor. There are jobs available in the service industry in your city.
Right now, you might not be aware of the fact that one of the things that the developers don't want to do, and one of the things that our whole elected officials responsible for, is they don't want to see the resources get in the hands of legitimate African-American contractors.
I know what you're saying, and I'm with you on that. If you find corruption and you find that you're being aced out of that federal money, you call me. But, Pastor, I'm telling you this, you've got to get behind the police to stabilize that neighborhood. It's not fair to those children to have to deal with these drug gangs every day of their life. I'll give you the last word real quick.
If the mayor of the city of Chicago gives the Peace Community Center, my center, the proper monies to work with our young men and women on the street, we will help stop the crime and violence in Englewood.
Okay, Pastor, my message got through loud and clear. We thank you.